Hey True Skills, it's Brent here with your final tutorial on time for this particular series. In this video, we're going to figure out how to get this call out working and actually changing our fractions here to match what it is saying, because currently our clock isn't doing that. So we go back to our clock, we do this, and it's always stuck on this sort of quarter past, but we know that this is half past and this is quarter to. So we're going to do that in this video. We're also going to update our clock hours because at the moment, if I put that up to 12 and I add 15 minutes and I add 15 minutes, our clock hours goes up to 13, but actually that's not the case. It should be set back to 1. So that will be the very first thing that we do in this tutorial. So let's get stuck into it. Alright, so let's just quickly fix this. So we can use the same logic that we did for our add minute. We could say, instead of clock minutes, we're going to say if clock hours is equal to 13, then we want to make it equal to 1. So let's actually just go ahead and do that. I'm going to pause the video and speed it up so you can just see what that looks like here, so you don't have to sit through it. Okay, so I've gone ahead and done that now. So if I go back here and change that back, we'll go back to 12. Let's keep adding some 15 minutes, adding 15 minutes, adding 15 minutes, and now we're at 1 o'clock again. If we take away 15 minutes, you'll see that we will go back to 11. Okay, so that's working as you'd expect it to work. Cool. So now we need to work out what we want to do with this call out here. So to do that, we're going to go head across into it, and we're going to be doing some things that we haven't done before. So the first thing that we need to do is go into our events tab, and we're going to grab this control statement here, or this block. It says when the green flag is clicked. So that's this green flag here, and that just is how we start the project. So when the green flag is clicked, we're going to do this. So green flag is clicked, and there we go, it will execute whatever is attached to here. So we're going to go back into our control statements, and we're going to grab this forever statement, which just is a continuous loop that just happens forever. And whatever happens in here will just keep going on until we either close the browser or press this stop button. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to do a couple of things. We need to know that, well, we need to update the costumes of this clock face when the minute hand is at the 15, at the 30, at the 45, and when it is o'clock. And as you can see, I've got my different costumes here and a blank one in there as well. Okay, so the way that we can do that is if we go back into our scripts, we can use this trusty if statement again. We can say if our minute hand, so if our clock minutes are equal to 15, because we know that when our minute hand is pointing at 3, that's 15 minutes. If our clock minutes is equal to 15, we're going to change the look. We're going to switch to the costume. We want to switch to the costume that is quarter past. Okay, so let's have a look at that. And it will, or it's already on that costume. I'll turn it on a different one just to show you what that looks like. So if I go here, I go back, and it should have updated to what we wanted it to. It's because I didn't press the green flag, and there you go. So now that is updated. So that works pretty cool. You can go ahead and do the exact same thing, but for the other ones now. So you can actually just go in and duplicate that if statement, attach it to the bottom, and you can say when the minutes are at 30, you want to switch to which costume? Well, we're at half past. So if we press that green button again, go to 15 minutes, and now we're at half past. Okay, I reckon you could go ahead and do the next two without me walking you through it. I'm going to pause the video now and just quickly go ahead and complete those, and you can see if you've done it the same as me. Okay, so I've gone ahead and popped in those 4 there. So as you can see, these will all add up, and that's looking pretty nifty. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is add the little call-outs, that little speech bubble when we get to each part of the clock. So the way that we do that is we go into our looks category here, and you want to say what's happening. Okay, so we want to say switch to costume quarter past. So you could say it is quarter past. Okay, then when I get to quarter past, my call out is telling me that is actually quarter past. Alright, so you can go ahead and pop those in for the rest of them. Okay, it is half past. Do that again, and it is half past. Okay, so as you can see here, I have gone in and I have put in all of my call outs. So it is quarter past, it is half past, it is quarter to, and it is o'clock. So that would be the first level of doing this. If you're looking for a little bit of extra functionality, we can actually go in and tell our call out what actual hour is going on here. Alright, so if you're looking for that extra challenge, keep watching this tutorial and I'll show you how to do that. Otherwise, I reckon just park it at this one here. So let's see how we would do that. So what you're going to need is you're going to need to go into your operator category here, and you're going to need to join two words together. So there's this this control block here that says join. This is hello world. So what you're going to need is to get that quarter past one. I'm just going in there and I'm copying that. So it is quarter past. That's what we want, but we actually want to say what hour it is. So you need to go over to your data, get your clock there, and you would go in and say, it is quarter past clock hours. Let's have a look. It is quarter past 1. So that has actually worked there. Our join statement has worked. We can do the same thing for our half past. So it is half past. It is half past. What's it going to be half past? It is still half past 1. So that's cool. So things get interesting when we go past half past, when we're at quarter to and the o'clock. We have to slightly modify what we need to do. We still want that join statement and duplicate that. But this time it is now quarter to the next hour. Okay, so having the current clock hours won't be good enough because it's no longer quarter to 1, it's actually quarter to 2. So what can we do there? Well, we can go in and we can grab an addition control here, okay? And we can get the current clock hours, and we actually just want it to be the current hour, but one more bigger than it, okay? So we can say that it is quarter to the current hour plus 1, so actually just 1 hour before it. And there you go. It actually says quarter to 2 now. If we go around, if we keep doing this, we've got it is quarter past 2, it is half past 2, and now it is quarter to 3, because that's exactly what is going on there. Alright? Now, time for our o'clock. And again, this one is a little bit trickier, okay? So we're going to have a couple of join statements here. So I'm going to grab a new join statement out there, okay? So it is something o'clock. So we need to have that starting in there, so we know that it is, okay, it's something o'clock. So we actually need to have another join statement there. So it is, we want to get the hour, it is something o'clock. Okay, then I can stick that whole join statement in there, and then as you will see up here, it will be next, it'll be 3 o'clock as we press this one. It is 3 o'clock, and you see the whole minutes have gone around there, and we can see that updating. So that's working pretty well. Now the last thing that you can do, this is just like extra little bit if you're still looking for that challenge, is you can take away this fraction thing as the minutes are moving between quarter past, half past, and quarter to, and o'clock. Okay? The way that we can do that is pretty tricky actually, but we're going to actually duplicate this statement. Okay, so we're going to say if we're not, okay, so if the clock minutes is not a mod, there's my mod there, okay, mod 15 equal to 0. Let me just pop that in there. So if it's not a mod 15 equals 0, and don't worry too much about that. This is just some very advanced stuff. We want to make that blank, and you want to say absolutely nothing. So let's just see what that does. There you go. So that actually just goes away now in between our variables there. So this is a pretty complex statement that uses some division and a little bit of advanced maths to what you know at the moment, but that's okay. If you just sort of copy that one in, you'll get that working the way. But if you've made it this far, congratulations, you finished our clock. I made the exact same clock that I made at the start. Well done on working through on all these tutorials. I hope you enjoyed it. I love making these videos for you, and I'll catch you in the next series that we make. Until then.